Hello everybody, welcome to 2C TV. I'm Maya 2C and this is your latest news update from the European Union, specifically the Netherlands and their clash when it comes to illegal migration, well, mass migration in general, and of course the European Commission. So we are going to be talking about a number of things in this video. We're also going to be once again discussing what's actually happening in Sweden in regards to the same crisis, and of course the media across Europe who are continuing to brand and label anybody who wants to control their borders far right. And obviously, if you're watching this live, we will get your reaction as usual. First things first, let's talk about Geert Wilders and followers of Wilders, the Freedom Party, and the pressure that they have managed to put on the political establishment, and at the same time, the new Prime Minister and everybody else. The fascinating part about this is that we have discovered so many times that in Europe, you basically have a situation where even if the proper populist, nationalist, right-wing parties can't win, they succeed enough, they perform well enough to then put pressure on the centre-right parties. Now, the Freedom Party is on the rise anyway, we know that, and Wilders, even though they stopped him from becoming a Prime Minister himself, he still managed to get his team to put pressure on the new cabinet. Now, this is about declaring a state of emergency when it comes to the migrant crisis in the Netherlands. So emergency laws have now been announced and they will be implemented regardless of what the European Union think about this. This is about stopping granting open-end asylum permits, stopping family reunions and dependents to join, and demanding an opt-out from the EU's migration pact. The last one has been the biggest problem for countries like the Netherlands and many others as well. If the UK was still in the European Union, we would have had to do the same thing. Luckily, we are not. Yet somehow our governments and politicians are still stupid, which means migration is still on the rise in the UK despite being out of the European Union. Now, speaking of the European Union, ladies and gentlemen, these guys are not too happy with the Netherlands, with the Dutch population. They have decided to send massive warnings to the Dutch government, saying they will put sanctions on the Dutch, they will put penalties, and of course there's a series of punishments that will go for the next few months. Now, Ursula von der Leyen has no authority in this situation, because nobody actually listens to her. She's completely lost the the focus of the unity of the European Commission, let alone the other branches of the European Union. But the Dutch government obviously have come out to ask to then opt-out clause from the EU's asylum rules, right? As soon as possible. Now, in case you're not familiar with this EU migration pact, essentially it means that you have to basically, they're gonna share the burden. Then, by the way, the use of the language is very important. It was the European bureaucrats or Eurocrats who started using the word burden. They unintentionally, accidentally, actually labeled immigration and asylum seekers as a burden. They did a bit of a whoopsie. The EU rules indicate that you have to relocate and allocate a certain number of illegal migrants across the European Union member states, and they also pay 20,000 euros for each that country would reject. Each illegal migrant you reject, you have to pay 20,000. That's a lot of money. Or finance operational support. Now, the Netherlands will choose financial support rather than the actual by inviting them into their country. This is according to the new program announced by the Dutch government because of the state of emergency. They'll rather pay the money. Now, about 48,500 so-called asylum seekers and their family members have entered the Netherlands in 2023 alone. Syrian, Turkish, Yemeni, Somali and Eritrean were among the most common nationalities. Really? Why? Why Turkish? What is happening there? Is there some sort of war zone? Is there a conflict right now in Turkey? Now, we can understand the problems in Yemen. Somalia, obviously, it's just always been not really a stable place. That's a whole different problem. Most of these countries is simple poverty that people are basically escaping, and then they will claim to be political refugees. It's fascinating. A lot of these so-called political refugees they should just do a very simple test. They should have a sit down with these political refugees from these countries and have a bit of a political and intellectual debate to see how much they know about political ideologies. Of course, they're not going to do that. Now, apart from the Netherlands, we also have Sweden kicking off. The Swedish government have come up with a new idea. We did report that on 2CTV this morning on our morning brief. But it gets quite interesting. It might work, it might not work. I'm not going to hold my breath. New re-immigration checks are to be given to migrants who do not integrate. $35,000 US dollars, that's the value, to leave the country. It's a voluntary scheme. It's not really a mass deportation program. It's a re-immigration program, but it's voluntary. Now, they are trying to, because the money that they used to bribe, it's bribery. They're bribing migrants to leave the country, right? The money they used to give, and other countries have given, has been about a few thousand euros, 3,000, 4,000. It's still big money if you take it and go home. But 35,000, that is that you could buy a whole mansion in wherever you go, basically, at this point, whether you're in Somalia or elsewhere. Now, obviously, as a voluntary scheme, and they're not even starting this until 2026, there's so many questions about what the Swedes are actually doing, because they know there's also a lot of pressure from the populist right in Sweden, just like in Germany, just like in Denmark, just like in the Netherlands. And in the UK, we're still really much pretty quiet about this. We're not really getting any mass protests about illegal migration, about mass migration. We are seeing slow rallies and stuff like that, and sometimes there's a backlash. Of course, 26th of October in Westminster is going to be a gathering led by our team, obviously, and Tommy. And actually, on that note, at 5 p.m. UK time, so in about 4 hours from now, we are going to have an exclusive interview with Tommy Robinson on this channel to discuss what we are going to be doing at the end of October in Westminster, and his message to everybody who are still a little bit scared. We've got our favorite troll back, ladies and gentlemen. There is this guy. I'm going to say he's a guy because he has to, I don't know. He's got so many accounts on Google and YouTube. He keeps copy and pasting the same thing. So he's saying Spider-Man, right? Maya is controlled opposition. It's the Jews that run the world, right? The Jews run the world. And then we ban him because we don't like spamming. You know, it's free speech. You can say whatever you want, but spamming the live chat, stupid thing, right? And then we've now banned him, given him about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. He's going to log into his other account and he's going to come back in. And then we're going to ban him again. So it's quite entertaining. It's like whack-a-mole sort of thing. Live Long says, Sweden gonna be the new holiday location with $35,000 to spend. Actually, yeah, just take the money and don't leave. Super chat from Donna. Thank you, Donna, saying, "Oh, looking very smart." Thank you very much. This is the tie that one of our supporters gave me for St. George's Day. Last year's St. George's Day. It's just full of St. George's flags, basically. You get the gist of it. Right. Time Lord says, we stand united with the Netherlands. Absolutely. Let's not forget, they've always been the good neighbours to the United Kingdom, the Dutch. You know, things happened in the past, but you know, there's always been this unity against the French. Anyway, I'm mostly talking about trade wars, not actual wars, because Napoleon was an idiot. But yeah, trade wars. Always be on the side of the Dutch, the trading nation. Toddy Terrence says, the sooner another country leaves the EU, the better. Well, yeah, I mean, the UK leaving the EU didn't really have a massive impact in terms of the domino effect, because the UK was always different to the European Union. But if you end up having one of the top countries, like fiscally conservative countries, whether it's Denmark or the Netherlands, leaving, then that's when the domino effect will happen. A lot of people always, because people who don't understand how the EU works, always used to say, oh yeah, no, we're going to have like Poland leaving or Hungary. Good luck with that. No, the Eastern Bloc will be a very, very different situation, because they can't leave, for obvious reasons. Secondly, it won't have any impact. They're not even net contributors anyway. So it's about the fiscally conservative countries that could cause that snowball effect. Scott says, Serbia is being paid by the EU also to take illegals. Yes. So the interesting thing about this, there's a difference in terms of treatment by the European Union. So net contributors of the European Union, we used to be one of them, the UK, and of course Germany. Net contributors are treated differently compared to those who just take. Basically, the rest of the European Union are on benefits because the rich countries just pay them free money and it just gets wasted. But they also treat them differently when it comes to the illegal migration. Because there's a massive burden on them, even including Mediterranean places, like, even Greece, Italy and elsewhere, because they're all coming from North Africa, straight there. The EU are trying their best to keep them happy by giving them more money. And some of the Eastern Bloc countries, they are then using that money to bribe their government, saying, can you take some of the migrants from Greece, for example, or Italy, right? It's not really working because that's not how you treat this crisis. Close the borders. It's not difficult. You have external borders for a reason, you idiots. But it seems like these liberal globalist governments want this to happen. Europe is going to change completely. It's already changing. It's too late for Europe to go back to being Europe as it was. It's too late. There are too many people here and they are having multiple babies, more than the white Christians in Europe. It's changing. It's done. That battle is lost. Even if you start doing mass deportations, it's too late. But it's all about national security and integration and at least maintaining the culture. If you can't maintain the identity of these countries, because that's too late, push for the culture, Christian culture, European culture, civilization, democracy, freedom. If you're not going to have that, then you need to get out. It's not going to happen. Europe will no longer exist as it is. And it's the death of Europe as we know it. Douglas Murray warned about this years ago in his book, but nobody listened. But first, thank you for your super chat saying, take money, go home, return, use a different rename. Genius idea. And you're going to have so much money now, you can do plastic surgery as well. And then come back to Sweden, pretend to be another political refugee under a different name. It's insane, right? Yeah. Anyway, is that troll person back? Yes, he's back, Jinx. Are you lot brainwashed? The Jews are harming the world. The Jews. Imagine hating the Jews this much in 2024. It's so funny. I'm going to ban him again. There we go. He's gone. The Jews. Oh, Man United have scored 2 goals. Sorry. Getting sidetracked. As I just started this live stream, it was 0-0. Now we have scored 2 goals. Brilliant. Even Rashford scored. Okay, let's not get distracted with Man United. It's absolute chaotic again this season. It's only the 4th game or whatever. All right. Do not unsubscribe from the channel just because I support United. I will hunt you down and deport you to Rwanda. Okay. Matt Carney says, 8 societies, 100 positive, 75%, 50%, 25%. What? And 100% negative. There's a lot of percentages. Which one were we in the 80s, in the 1980s? And which one are we in now? Ooh. 75% negative now. It's not a test, is it? Okay. Avalon Jewish says, does this mean that if Islamic migrants are going to be stopped from colonizing Europe, are they going to start piling into the UK? Well, they will try. That's the whole problem, by the way. Obviously, a lot of countries, it's in their interest to... I'm seeing something in the live chat. I'll get back to it. There's been a lot of countries it's in their interest to push out their migrants, right? So, for example, France, it's in their interest to push their migrants to come to the UK. I don't blame them. I don't blame Macron, right? You know, there have been a number of Israeli politicians who've been trying to push out the Islamists from that territory to come to Europe. But it's the responsibility of your government to not open the door. I don't care if the French are trying to push the migrants out this way. Fair enough. It doesn't mean we have to take them in. Take some personal responsibility. Zoe says, United 2 up, nice, but Maya is a Jewish shield. I like United too though. When did I become a Jew or a Jew? Considering this channel's been going on for such a long time now, a few years, and for the first few years we weren't even talking about Israel or Palestine. We weren't even talking about any of that. The whole point of this channel was about geopolitics, Brexit, and everything else. It's not my fault that a bunch of smelly, beardy weirdies decided to invade Israel last October, and then we had to report it. Now, because I had to report it, and obviously, ideally, I don't want innocent people to die when they're just having a festival, music festival. Apparently, it's so bad to support that, support people's lives, right to life and freedom. Then that means that apparently I want the Jews to take over the world. Also, for the record, you have to clarify what you mean by Jews. You got the actual ethnicity, and you've got those who are like Orthodox religious people. When it comes to religious people, I mean, some of my friends are actually religious when it comes to Judaism. I'm personally Team Jesus, so we have our debates, but we can have a laugh afterwards. I can't do it if I had another friend from a certain other religion, because if I have a debate, I'll lose my head. So that is the difference between a debate between a Christian and a Jew, and a debate between a Christian and what is that thing called? There's a book, I think it was written in the 6th, 7th century. I forgot what it's called. I think it's called some sort of religion thing. Submission. It's all based on submission, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, where is this person gone? Where's that troll? Has he logged into his new account or not? No, he's still trying to find his password, guys. Come on, troll. Okay. Glenn says, I am now unsubscribing because of Man United. I told you, Glenn, if you unsubscribe because of United, I will hunt you down. I will hunt you down and deport you to Narnia. Nina says, hi, my lovely. Good on the Netherlands and Poland. Team Poland. Steve says, I stand with the Jews. See, that means, Steve, you're a Jewish shill as well, according to these guys. If you... Oh, funny times, right? Jean says, I'm sure the Dutch will survive. It will be a lot cheaper not letting them in. Take note, Starmer. No need to rob the pensioners. Just throw out the illegals, especially the ones who are in our prisons. Why are they in our prisons? It's... All right. Okay, there are some mentions of Liverpool in the live chat. I will ban you. I'm kidding. I'm not going to ban you. Even Scousers have a right to opinion sometimes. With all the respect to everyone from Liverpool, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. We're going to take a break and come back later on with more updates. And don't forget, 5 p.m. UK time, exclusive interview with Public Enemy #1 Tommy Robinson right here on 2CTV. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.